Okay, I'm not too sure if it's gonna work again. If it's still streaming or not. I think there was a trouble with the connection. Let me just see if I'm still streaming. I hope I am still, because it was still working. Uh, okay, yeah, it seems to be working again. Okay, sorry, sorry everyone, I'm back. It looks like Bell Canada decided that internet was not interesting. Okay, so we're back. So, uh, what we're trying to do here is to get to the the resources for get resources for item. Oh, YouTube is down. Okay, so I don't know if I can. Maybe we'll try again. Okay. So what we need to do is get to get the resources for item and try to get to a point where we can get something out of that portion. I'm still interested in the fact that that portion. I don't remember if we have testing around those. I think we may, but yeah, no, it's directly inside it's directly inside the class here. And there's no generator. There's a PRI resource writer here. I'm not sure if it's tested separately. We got the Uno PRI writer. Let me see if we have other locations where it's specified. We have the writer. No, it doesn't look like it is. Okay, so we're gonna test it from the outside for now. Okay, so what we needed to have is something that has the ability to get the resource candidate fully, because that's what we need to have for most of the changes that we want to include. Because the original changes that we had were just using the file name and the language directly, but we need a little bit more than that to be able to find the value. So what we're gonna do there. We can either pass in, we're going to pass the qualifier directly instead of passing the culture. So we're going to resource candidate. The resource candidate is a resource candidate type. And from there, we are going to pick up the different, we're going to make the changes so that we can use the different qualifier. So get qualifier value for language. We have the writer here that's going to be using the map name and the language. We can probably just pull it out from, you're going to pull it here from, pull it from here, so it's going to be easier. So this is the language. We're going to be reusing the language in other locations, but the problem is that we need to, when we pick up the file here, it doesn't work the right way. So resource map name. So in there, the file name is incorrect. We can't get the file name without the extension. So what we're gonna pick up is the candidate dot original name, I think it is. We get the logical path. I think that's the one. So logical path is the path without the qualifier. That's the one that we need to get. Do we use the language anywhere else? We use the language at that location. And then we're writing the file, actual target path. So we're supposed to be reading the file still, but if we're not getting the file to the path to the actual file properly, we're gonna have issues. So resources is just a simple set of resources there. The file may have been parsed already. Resource. Oh, no, that's the item spec too. That's the full item spec, so that's probably enough. We were returning language, but we can't use language before it's declared, which makes sense. Let's put it at the top there. And we were using the resources here. So I'm surprised this is a dictionary. Looks like we are. Oh, we're using resources from here. Okay, so the resources. Okay, we're reading. We are pre-reading the file, so we're not making any modifications to it. So that's good enough. Okay, so you're saying, I guess my problem is the size of the SVG file, and when it moves the mouse, the canvas has to draw it again, and all that information. I mean, what kind of an SVG file is it? Is it super large? Because it wouldn't make sense to render the SVG file to a PNG instead, and then, or can to an actual bitmap, and then show the bitmap instead of redrawing the SVG. That would be something that you can do. Okay, so we're good with that one. Let's try to see what we get with this. I think it may be just the only modification that we need to make for this to work, because we have the right. Oh, we have to rebuild, because if we don't rebuild, we're not going to get anything working properly. So the resource language here is materialized as part of the Skia generic. So we're just going to make a modification to the app.xaml so that we just pick up the modifications directly. So we're just forcing the samples shared to rebuild. That should be enough. I'm just not going to put breakpoints yet. I'm just going to see if we get the right results from the files that we've generated instead. So the sample Skia is going to be using the files that we have, and we're regenerating the resources at compile time so that our test can pick up the change. So let's see what we get now. Okay, so it's still failing. So this time we don't know what happened. So we may go and take a look at the output to see if we get our pt.pt file. So it should be located in a Skia samples app Skia project, which references the shared sample project. And so if we go into, I think we're on net9. And if we go to the resource generator folder, we get the strings. And I can see that there's still no pt.pt here that's been updated. What may have happened is that because I didn't kill the instances of MS Build, we're still running in the previous version of the tool. So let's try that again. Though we're gonna make sure that we're building the UNO tasks again so that they're picked up at the right place. Okay, so we can see that killing the MS Build instances, so the children nodes of MS Build is working properly. So we can start it again. So I've made changes to my app.cs just so that it pick up the changes. And we're going to see if we get the new files generated at the right locations for our samples app Skia here. So it's supposed to be getting a new folder, which is the pt-pt file, and we'll see if we get that right. We're still in remote control. I'm probably going to be removing that debugger launch because it's annoying at that point. Okay, we're at our sample, and let's see if we have a new folder generated. Let's hope we do. If we don't, we're going to have to go and debug all of that. It's taking a bit more time. There's a lot of XAML files in there. Maybe we can peek at the folder. No, still no Portugal in that folder. And it's likely going to fail because it's not there. So we can just make sure, but yeah, no, it's not there. Okay, so if it didn't do anything here, it's likely that we don't have the right modification. And what I'm going to do is go and debug the other solution, because debugging a simple target inside of Uno, because it builds so many projects, makes it super difficult, because it's going to pop up too many things that's on screen for starting the debugger. So we're going to be debugging directly from this solution. So we only have one pop-up that shows up. So there you go. We have that single pop-up that shows up, and it's supposed to be with the right binary. That has the latest changes that I made. So if I go directly to my location that I changed, so we're supposed to be having the resource candidate passed in. We got a language that is supposed to be the right one, ENUS, that's good. We got a resource map name, which is the one that we're supposed to be specifying. Resources is kind of a special name in resources. If you specify your file as resource, you can address the contents of that file without specifying any prefix. But if you specify anything else, like you have to use that prefix / the name of the resource so that it picks up properly. So the actual target path is incorrect, because you can see that the path here doesn't have any language integrated in there. And it's because it's using the resource map name without any language inside. I don't recall get find name and output path, logical target path. So it's getting the get build path. It's probably because we're not building it properly in that build path here. We're probably not using the right language. I mean, it's supposed to be containing the name of the file, but it's not. So let's go insert that file to see why we are not getting our target properly. Okay, so that makes sense. So you can see here that we're getting the directory name, so that we're putting the files in the right location. But the problem is that because we have specified the language as a qualifier, then the language is not specified as part of the path. So what can we do here? What we could do is try to determine if there's a language qualifier inside of the name of the file, and manipulate the file name that way. That we could do. So that explains why we didn't have any of the files placed at the right locations, because we don't have the language included in the file name, in the path that leads to the file name. So we're gonna have to do something else. Okay, so maybe there's a way to do this differently. I think the candidate would probably have the. So let's get out of there. The candidate from the resource qualifier here. So there's a logical path that doesn't have the file name. We have the qualifier. The thing is that we don't know if the qualifier is part of the file name or not. We could try to search from. We could try to search it inside. Let's try to do it that way for now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna search in the target path. We're gonna try to find the language qualifier directly in there. That could be one of the ways to do it. So if we are, if the target path contains the contains .language dash with the language. So if it contains a language directly, then we need to return kind of a fake path, if you will. Well, it's a base path with the output, but we need to do something like this with a path, the path on concat get directory name. We need to concatenate the path there. No, concat is the right one. So we need to do path.concat combine, sorry, then add the language at the end. So if we do that, then we're going to have the right output path set there. Okay, so let's build our not the runtime test. We need the tasks there. So it built properly. And if we go back to our issue, let's just rebuild and see. Oh, no, not a rebuild like this. It's going to be very verbose. We're just going to build this way. Just going to go outside to our debug folder and see what we get inside the debug folder for desktop. We need to go to, no, desktop. Need to go to G and strings. And we have FR, but I'm not sure. What did we get? We see that we have FR, so it's working. We have the three languages that we put there. That's good. So if we go back to our sample and we start it again, we should be having this time in that folder, we should be having the pt-pt folder that should be showing up for our test to work. Let's see what we have in there. No, it's not, still not executed. So if it's still not, oh, it's still, I had pop-ups. Forgot to close the pop-ups. So it's not generated, so it's likely going to fail again. And I'm surprised it's not generated. It may be because it's not loading the file properly. But if we go into the other project, we can see that there's the ENUS, which is a bit better. And if we go to our FR, if we launch it twice, launch it the first time, we got FRCA that's showing up, which is good. That means that the FR, I said FR, but it's FRCA inside, so that's why it's showing up this way. Yeah, it's FR. Let's change it to see if it still works. So there we go. If we update this, we should be having an additional FRCA folder that's showing up, and then we got our FRCA still. So that means that we have updated the generator so that it generates the file using the language qualifier at the right place. So there may be additional scenarios that need to be adjusted. For instance, we can see that in the resource generation tasks, there's a few other paths that need to be adjusted. So this one, for instance, is a little bit different. We may need to adjust that there. And then, of course, there's the Android resources and iOS resources that will need to do the same kind of modification for the resource candidate to be using the right locations for picking up the item and also putting it in the temporary folder in the ops folder. So that's it. I think we have a winner there. So we just need to replicate all that for the other portions and to get that running inside of the runtime tests. So that's it for this year. I hope to see you next year. And Until then, happy coding. Don't code too much during vacations if you do take vacations. And bye for now.